Now then, you may have noticed there's been a bit of a theme going on with this channel recently, and I met up with Owen last week, the week before, something like that. Time flies, doesn't it? And he came up with these, and it is a lithium ion. Is that the right way up? You probably won't be able to see it, but it's a 20 amp hour lithium ion battery, and I thought, that's mighty interesting. I wonder whether any of the cells are any good. And of course, you know what's going to happen, don't you? We're going to dig into it, because we're not frightened of it. Yeah, we just got to be careful. We won't go anywhere near it with a Stanley knife. It's made out of pouches. Anyway, let's zoom down onto the work surface so we can see things better. Right, well, there were two of these, and the other one, there was a couple of cells that weren't too bad, and there were some that wouldn't take a charge at all, stayed at about, can we see the multimeter? Yes, we can. Let's put that underneath. Yeah. So this one, let's just see what we've got there. There's the negative, there's the positive. Yeah, 3.46. Okay. So that seems to be holding a voltage. I think it's been sat for more than a week, and I didn't charge it all the way up anyway. I just thought, will it hold a charge? So let's see what this one says. That's 8 volts. Okay, let's dig into this. We've got this sort of cellophane type plasticky coating. Let's just take Owen's sticker off, put it to one side. Once I've got this off, I'll just zoom down on the label. There you go. 20,000 milliamp hours. So 20 amp hours at 22.8 volts. Fair enough. 15C. Anyway, okay. Let's crack on. So from memory, I've taken the other one apart. Either they've been dropped, because this corner is a bit mashed. The main thing when you're taking these pouches apart is not to use any spiky implements. You don't want to poke holes in the pouches. So I'm being very gentle here. Ah, there we go. So we don't want to poke holes in the pouches to allow oxygen in there, which is a bad thing, apparently. I think Big Clive has done various experiments with taking this sort of thing apart, but actually disassembling the individual pouches as well, which I don't think's a very good idea. But the main problem is shorting stuff out. Now if it's just a quick flash of power, as far as I can tell, that's not a problem. Now I think we do need a Stanley there. Let me just go and get one. But you know, a continued short, I think there might be is where things start to get hot. I was talking to Lee about this not long ago, and he was saying that if you get continuous heat, then you can get into a runaway situation where the heat builds up and it just keeps going, and we definitely don't want that. This is proving to be particularly awkward. Let's try the bottom. There we go. So we don't want the positive and negative to be touching each other. And we see we're getting the top off that. There's a bit of Kapton tape here. There. Okay. Now, I mean 20 amp hours, that's a pretty fearsome amount of power. But it's only 8 volts at the moment, so there's hardly any power in this whatsoever. So what have we got? Between there and the first link, we've got 0.6 of a volt. Between the first link and the second link, we have 0.8. Then that one, let's just zoom in a little bit. Okay, and move forward a bit. So that cell there goes between there, down there to that link, and that's 0.5. Then that cell comes up here, that's the cell, and there's the link. 0.85, then down there to that one, 1.1, and then, well, they've all got 0.9. They've actually all got voltage in them, which was better than the last lot. Now if we look at this, we can see that that one has had a bit of a accident. Now we've got some tape here, but I don't want to try and cut it with the Stanley if I can help it, because I could puncture one of these cells, which would be a bad thing. So there we go. So it looks like there's a bit of tape there. We've got at least 4 intact, maybe 5, and maybe that one's alright, but it's had a bit of a bash on the corner there. Yeah. So I think the next thing to do is to put this on the bench power supply and charge it at about 0.5 amp for a long time. If they've all got voltage in them, then I'm hoping that these will all come back. Yeah, but the thing is, there'll be 3.6 or 3.7 volts. Yeah, or something like that. Yeah, so what can I use it for? I know Lee uses a 12 volt system on a lot of these things, especially on his Victron with the ESS system on it, and they will probably be very good for him. But we'll see. We'll see. We've got to work out actually how many we're getting. Yeah. So to run up at 12 volts. Yeah. If these are, I mean, if these are lithium, I think these are lithium ion, not lithium phosphate. Yeah. Because, well, they're 3.4. If this one here is 3.4 and won't go any more, then that's the top end of lithium phosphate. If it was lithium phosphate, that would be amazing, wouldn't it? Just 20 amp hour lithium phosphate. But what's it say on the label? It says 22 volts. Okay, and there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 is into 22. Anybody good at their mental arithmetic? So 4 6s are 24, 3 6s are 18. Okay, so it's more than 3, but we know that already. Yeah, 4 6s are 24, so it's slightly less than 4 volts, so it's about 3.8 volts. So I think it is lithium ion. Okay, which is a bit of a shame, because if it was lithium phosphate, I'd be series parallel in these, because I do have some lithium phosphate 70 amp hour cells, but there's not enough to make a 48 volt pack yet, and I don't want to say any more about that at the moment. But I'd have to use at least 3 of these, yeah, at 20 amp hours. That makes 60 amp hours, maybe 4, so I wouldn't get very far. Yeah, so anyway, I'm going to put these on the charger, and then I will get back to you in a few days, but at least we made a start on this. So following on from that, this is one of the other bits of these packs, because there were 2 of these packs, and I've charged these, and you can't see. There we go. And 3.9, 3.9, 3.9. So I think we have 3 sets of 3. So we've got 36 volts here at 20 amp hours. Brilliant. Okay. But some of them have got a bit of a crunch on the corner. Now, we've got all this business in the popular press about these batteries. That's 3.4, so that's a pretty good one. I don't want to destroy that one. I wonder if I've got another one that I can take apart. But anyway, following the hysteria in the popular press about lithium ion batteries and them setting fire, etc., after damage, I sort of, if you read between the lines, it's more like when they are overcharged dramatically. And Owen sent me a magazine, a small magazine, A to B, which is about bicycling, and in there was an article about this very same thing. And basically what it said was, do you remember there was a few, I don't know, a couple of months ago, maybe even longer than that, there was a big ship that went on fire containing a lot of cars. 3,000 cars or something. Well, the report back from the salvage people said that all the electric cars were on a lower deck and there was no damage. So it was either a bit of the ship that set fire or one of the ICE, internal combustion engine cars, that went on fire. Because remember, each of them have got incredibly flammable materials on board. Anyway, I'm just sort of, you know, if you see a crunch on the side of one of these, you think, oh, quick, throw it away. And I have been a bit sort of dubious about these, as in not leaving them in the workshop unnecessarily and stuff like that. But they seem to be fine. But I thought I had one of these that was duff, and I'll just go and see if I can find it. So I found it, and there's no volts in it whatsoever. You can't see that. There's no volts whatsoever. So there's very little chance of it misbehaving. Don't do this at home. So I wanted to see what the damage was in that corner. Perhaps I ought to put some gloves on. Have I got any? I have got some. It's just trying to... There is a bit of a smell. I wanted to see if that crunch in that corner had actually done any physical shorting out damage. So there we go. So when I removed that from there, I obviously removed a bit of this. They're the plates, and there's the separators. So it actually doesn't look like... I'm going to zoom down on this. As you can see, all the separators are intact. Yep. So that is a plate, and there's a plate there. So I don't think there's actually any electrical damage there. Yeah, and if you look on the bottom there, can we see? Yeah, they're all complete. They're just slightly bent. So I think they're all right. Yeah, let's zoom out. So, having taken that apart, and hopefully you saw some of it, difficult to keep things in shot, I think these slightly crunchy corners, like that, not a problem. And they're holding a charge. I think this was charged, I don't know, a couple of weeks ago, and it was charged to 3.4, because that's as far as I got, and it's not self-discharged, and it's not set on fire or anything like that. I think if I charge this up to sort of 5 volts or something, it will either die or it will start to heat up, but I'm not about to do that, am I? So again, I think it's down to the quality of the BMS. Now, battery management service, battery management board, whatever you want to call them. But here's an interesting thing on top of that. One of my students said, could I have a look at this for him? Because he'd used this, he hadn't used this. This was one of these, here we go, one of these things, Noco Genius chargers, not a charger, power bank sort of thing, jump starter. And he hadn't used it as a jump starter, he'd used it as a power bank through the USB to run his heated gloves on his motorcycle. Anyway, he hadn't used it very many times and it refused then to charge. So I had it apart, and wasn't that a tale of interesting things? I can't remember how we're doing here. Here we go. So effectively what happened is I dug all the way through here, and the 14 volts in is just here, and it all comes through, and that's a charging wire, and there's a charging wire down here, and we were getting 14 volts there. So the charging circuit was working, but the indicator just here was only going up to, well, it was sort of 25% and flickering a little bit on the 50%. So what I thought I'd do was I would use the bench power supply, and just to see if one of the cells was below voltage or something like that. Now you'll notice also that there's no balanced charging on this, and this was showing 8 volts, that's right, and the voltage on the front there says 11.1. so I think one of the cells is duff, and it has got a bit sort of bloated, expanded and what have you, and I think there are 3 cells in there. 2 of them are good, 1 is duff. Yeah, and it's hardly been used, and it's duff because there's no battery management board, and it shows 9 volts, which is a bit high for 2 lithium ion batteries. That would be 4.5 each. Yeah, but the only way to find out is actually to cut this open and dig into it, because it's clearly non-functional. Yeah, but it's not mine, so I really can't dig into it yet, but it would be interesting. I'm virtually sure there are 3 cells in there, yeah, of which 1 is duff, and we know why. No BMS, faulty cells, poor quality BMS, you can overcharge your batteries, or as we've said shown in the last video, you can charge your batteries but you can't take power out, and that's not the first time that has happened to me. Anyway, comments please. Hopefully you saw me taking this apart. I'll have to have a look at the footage, but basically if you didn't, I very gently cut down the side and peeled this open. Yeah, that's all I did. Yeah, very gently. I didn't want the knife to go into these plates. It was just the cover, just on the edge of this, and this is plastic. So this, it's got no power in it, so there's no energy in there for it to start heating up with the oxygen or anything like that. But interesting, you know, the ding in the corner is not a problem because it hasn't damaged the separators. Okay, comments, discussion, tell me what you think, and I will catch up with you very soon. Cheers for now.